We got a pre-show here on the Rants of Izzo on Spreey Media, Spreely.com. Good damn afternoon on a Tuesday. This is the Rants of Izzo show, and we're going to be live in about 2 minutes. Now, here's what this is not, as I start this on another, whatever you call it. Here's what this is not. It's not a typical talking head garbage. Blows me away. I don't know how you people, and you people, take that for whatever it's worth, email all your complaints to Chelsea at Spreely.com. I have no idea how you guys like listening to your favorite influencer over and over and over again when all they literally do is harumph nonstop and like little doggies just waiting for that treat. You're a bunch of little bitches. You're like, oh, just give me more. Say more about how bad things are. Say more. At least here at the Rants of Izzo show, we try to come up with solutions, if you will. And sometimes those solutions are a little extreme. Like when we got Maddie Wack on tomorrow with Scott Sieverts and we talk about storming the castle. This is what it is. Oh, hang on. We got this today. Actually come prepared today. Here's how you wind up sponsoring the show. You go ahead and you buy my book, Before the Badge, Everything You Need to Know Before You Become a Cop. It's forwarded by Sheriff Joe Arpaio. Look at that. Sheriff Joe. There he is. He wrote that. I know him. Eric's got a book. Eric, how can they buy your book?
I do. New York City 2020, Gotham Unglued. It is a coffee table book, 260 full color, 8.5 by 11 pages, documenting the demise of New York City in 2020, of course, Amazon.com.
There you go. Buy that book. Also, share the show. Go to Spreely.com. Check out all the things that we have there. Spreely is speak freely. Spreely. See what they did there? You got a social media platform where you could say whatever you want. You got a video platform that's akin to YouTube where you find great videos. We've got our past shows up there like Report No Pine, The Dumb Show, Shannon Joy's show, Wake Up America with Austin Peterson, my show, The Rants of Izzo. There's a ton of content up there, both in audio, video. We also have some other stuff, some swag that you might want to take a look at. So if you're looking to support The Rants of Izzo and Spreely.com, just share the link, you selfish sons of bitches. All right, let's have a show. What?
Okay.
Yeah, no, nothing.
No, I was just gonna say it's crazy, bro, how far we've come. Like things are just completely off topic. It's one thing for like we'll get swear words, but now it's like you can't say that.
We'll get there. Crazy. We're gonna have a show right now. All right, guys, here we go.
Sit down, shut up, and pay attention.
Damn!
This is the Rants of Izzo Show with your hosts, Dominick Izzo, from porn to politics. We touch every third rail we can find. You might want to put your headphones on so your mom can't hear this. It's been called the most entertaining 60 minutes on the internet, and it starts now. Let's do this.
Mercury retrograde no longer has its deeply gripped, clawed, mystical energy on the Rants of Izzo show here at Spreely.com, and it actually has allowed us to stream live. It is Tuesday, April 23rd. Holy shit, the year has gone by so fast. It's already April 23rd. It's noon Central out here in Chicago and in Austin. Is that where you wind up going to, Austin?
Houston.
Yep. Austin was a little bit more liberal, wasn't it?
Yeah, they call Austin the San Francisco of Texas.
Oh.
It's fun for like a day or two.
Okay. Well, you've been gone for a couple of weeks. You made a big move. How do you feel?
Oh, bro, it's just night and day. I mean, we can all watch California collapse. I mean, originally from California, lived in New York, went back to California. Now I'm in Texas. Couple stops on the way. But I was noticing just yesterday, bro, I'm not joking. You can Google this if you wanted to, but the Harris County Sheriff's Department, which is, in or around the Houston area, is tracking a guy who stole $33 worth of merchandise from a Walgreens, while dozens of Walgreens have closed in San Francisco because of shoplifting. Just think about that.
What, was the guy white?
He was not. He was like a Latino man. Hey, man, I don't know, like, how you steal $33 from Walmart, man. Like you.
Can you imagine that?
Toothpaste.
Wait, can you imagine being the one guy who's like, dude, I could steal fucking $1,500 worth of shit. Nobody's gonna wind up catching me, and I could walk out the door, look right at you, and go, hey, bitch. Yeah, I got $1,500 worth of product here. Not a damn thing you could do. You walk right out the store, and you're like, yeah, all right, great. And then you see, like, then I come up, and I'm a guy. I'm like, man, all right, hey, dude, Eric just stole fucking nearly $2,000 worth of stuff. Oh, I'm going in. What do I need from home? I need some toothpaste. And all right, I'll grab a toothbrush because mine's probably like fucking 3 months old. And I need to change it because I'm a guy. I don't do that. So I'll grab a pack of gum, grab a couple of things, and walk out the door. They're like, sorry, sir, you can't go anywhere. Excuse me? What? No, you guys say we're calling the police. What?
Yeah.
I have $33 worth of shit here, bro. No, I just, yeah, I'd be that asshole. You know what? I'm starting to think there's a couple different things that my mind is like, shit, why are we just not playing by their rules? I think to soften the blow or level the playing field, I think we need to bring back the N-word. And the reason why is if everybody's accused of saying it, like the diversity, equity, and inclusion, there was 2 or 3 weeks ago all over social media, you had the politicians who were on the left saying that DEI is the new N-word. And you had these assholes who were online saying like equality, and they were doing the arrow, like what the word meant. And it was N-I asterisk asterisk ER. And then the next word was like equity, and then the same thing. And it went all the way down, DEI, N-I-G-G-E-R. And I'm like, okay, do we just need to say it so that you can get it all out of your system and you can see that nobody gives a shit about stuff? And same thing with like shoplifting. Why can't I just go into some place and go, hey, just so you know, I'm not going to pay for shit. I'm walking out.
I just don't understand. I mean, yes, right. Look, it's an ages old argument. It's like, bro, you guys listen to, I'm guilty of this, right? Like I like Future. I, listen to a bunch of like degenerate rap music. I mean, from at least 5 years ago, right? I don't know what the hell's going on out there now, but prior to Rona, whatever, you would drop the N-bomb every other word. But for whatever reason, if the wrong person says it, it is I mean, these people short circuit, bro. Like it just like 404 not found, right? So we all know about who can say it, who can't say it. It's absolutely ridiculous. And on a much larger scale, there was a former Marine, a young Marine, bro, 18 years old, who was caught stealing jewelry from Houston, Texas, while only less than a week before, there was an 8-man team in Oakland that ransacked the jewelry store, right? And those are the differences. I mean, it's night and day. In Houston, they're like, nope, we got you. In Oakland, they say, we can't find him.
Here's why I don't like the N-word. I don't care about N-I-G-G-A. Here's why I don't like N-I-G-G-E-R. There's no equivalent. I don't care what other race, nationality, religion you are. There is no other word that is as definitive and as brutal of like an argument closer. Like if you and I got into an argument and I just go, fuck you, it's the end of the argument. Like I've lost my shit so much, I can't get any more points of clarity to try to convince you of my side. I lost the argument. Fuck you. That's the way I'm going to end the argument. Definitive. Same thing with the N-word. Now the problem is if and that's why it's not fair. If other cultures, I don't care what you say, Mick, Wop, Guinea, Spick, fag. I don't care. None of those are as offensive. And I don't know if that's just like it's cultural. Like we've been, and maybe it's like it's just a word. I get that, but there is some validity to it being like the definitive, most harshest insult to a selective group of people in the world. Now, here's my caveat: if you said WAP, Dago, greaseball, or spick, or whatever it else is, right? And a chink, and I'll say all the ones for equal opportunity. If even Jew is so normalized now. When I was a kid in grammar school, you couldn't call somebody a Jew. You get in big trouble for that. But now it's like, thanks to Twitter, it's almost preferred. If by some chance we all had that equal word that was like, dude, that's just whoa, then I would be like, you could say the N-word as much as you want as an argument closer because that person can fire back with the same level of equality. Sadly, the black community does have retribution, and the public, which I don't agree with, thinks that if somebody calls somebody the N-word, that is justifiable for them to physically be violent towards them. Fuck that. When I see that shit, I'm like, I'm going to say it. If you punch me and you're insulted like that, I'm breaking that word out a fucking million times. So if it bothers you that bad, I can't stand that shit. That's just my 2 cents.
There's also, I mean, you mentioned it at the top of that rant. I guess there's obviously a difference between the hard R and the A, or even the AH, right? I think we all remember the Boondocks episode, like you throw the H on the end. But even now, we've gone so far where, I mean, the hard R is like, I mean, persona non grata, like, you would be canceled easily for just dropping the A or the AH in an end of an argument. But we've gotten so, I mean, just think about the levels, bro. Like, we've gotten so far off the plot, right? And I know this is apples to oranges, but when you're talking about a portion of the population that is willing to believe they are the opposite gender, of course, after that, like I always say, everything falls into place. So a word is enough to trigger you, so you fly off the handle. You could literally beat somebody into a paste, and your excuse will be, they didn't even have to drop the hard R. I don't know.
No, it's NIGGA. They've got all these people doing pranks. Every culture has their like their term of endearment. Hispanics have way. It's boy or way, either one. And it means castrated work bull. And when I first started working in the restaurant industry,
is that what that means?
Yeah, it's like that's what I was told. It's a castrated work bull, and it's kind of like it's our version of dude. But you can't call somebody you don't know. Like, you can't go up to a Hispanic guy and go, "Hey, wait, kind of that way." It's like, what? Okay. No mames way. You can't say that because that's like, no, you cross that line. How many women don't like being called a bitch, but they'll call each other bitch? Oh, bitch. It's like, there's always those terms of endearment. I don't like the fact that there's a distinctible intent behind a word. I've always said this. Words are words, right? I can call you a fucking spoon. I can call you a fork. Hey, you piece of carpet. It's whatever the intent is behind that word is the problem. So if you have somebody who's using the words as a term of endearment, fine. Where the culture lost me is you litter. Now I'm all for, and I've said this a million times. I'm not. I have no idea how the fucking people glorified Mark Furman after his bullshit back at the O.J. Simpson trial, where here he is. Oh, I've never said the N-word, and then he got a whole fucking recording of him, and now he's a celebrated detective. It's ridiculous. That's how stupid we are as culture. But I have absolutely said the word. I've said the word in jokes. I've said the word as 100%. There was a girl I dated years ago. We called each other that, hard R, as a term of endearment. I'm not fucking kidding. It was her idea. And I went, oh my God, I love you. So stupid. And I used it. I said it a million times. It was a time I was so angry because my father was attacked and beaten by 3 black guys that I put a distinctive adjective at the front of that word and said that word a shit ton of times. I was so pissed because that was my level of just getting the fury and rage out of my system. I said the hardest shit possible so I would feel this purge of anger and pain. But when you take a term of endearment and you go and you start swinging on people who come up and say it because the NIGGA is your culture, and you got people who want to do, like, you could say, dude, you're not part of our group, man. You can't say that. I get that. I can't think of anything of Italian that would fucking bother me, except for when people hang like Casino and Goodfellas posters up in their rooms when they're black and Hispanic and other Asian. I'm like, dude, you're not Italian. Stop that shit. That's cultural appropriation.
Remember when I don't even know if you can say this, when little Fredo Cuomo, little Chris Cuomo said, bro, remember this was a couple years ago. He said, well, calling a journalist fake news is like the N-word for black people. That these people are just grasping at straws.
Yes.
And I mean, maybe that's how silly it is, right? I mean, to his credit, like, maybe that's how silly it is. And if you have something bad happen to you and you decide that you're going to drop the N-bomb all over the place, there's still a large group of people that would say that is actually worse than what you may have gone through, which is just crazy.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't care. I don't know. Like, I'm just not one of those guys who's into ancestry. And I know where my family came from, like Naples, Calabria, Sicily. I don't give a shit. I have no desire to go back to the old country. I was never somebody who sat there and like, once my mother died, I'm like, oh, those traditions are gone. I just don't care anymore. You know, I mean, plastic on the couch and Sunday dinner with gravy. I don't care. So if you're going to come into my world and like think you're going to insult me with like anything, I don't get how you could celebrate a word and a term. And Richard Pryor, his stand-up on the word was fantastic, where he said he went to Africa and he's never using that word again. I just don't think that anybody has the right to be called any insult, including the hard R, and swing back on somebody and say that's acceptable. I just don't. I'll never stand by that.
Well, I mean, look, it's a complete mess. And gone are the days where, I could be a little bit more rational about these things, but we've gone so far off the plot that I'm almost at this point where I just have to push back on everything just for spite. It's like, you guys have just gone so far. Like, I'm not doing this anymore, bro. Like, you gotta stop. Like, you could have made an argument and made your point about, word usage or whatever, but now I just don't trust you at all. Right. So anything you say is basically, in my mind, already deemed non-credible. So I have to just go the opposite direction, because this regime or whatever, this political correctness, has already proven itself to be incorrect at almost every single turn that you just kind of have to, by reflex, just have to do the opposite of whatever the hell these people are doing. Right. And you can watch all the old, and it's also weird. I guess Netflix, I've only seen this recently, but I guess it happened maybe a month ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, where they've rebooted the Good Times series.
Oh, the White Family?
Absolutely not. But it's animated, right? So what they can do is sort of, any white person. I don't even know. To be honest with you, I don't even know what the term white means. I mean, same thing with African Americans. Like, bro, I never even been to Africa. What country are you talking about? You mean just a black person? You say African Canadian? Do you say African British? Like, all that aside, right? I mean, there's a million hairs to split, but they can sort of do these animated. Okay, maybe minstrel shows a little bit extreme, but like these weird animated, like over the top black parodies. That's all good, but then it's almost like if the wrong person laughs at it, then that's racist. Mm-hmm. They're kind of setting you up, right?
We loved
it. You into this corner.
Dude, we loved it. I love somebody I'm subscribed to these 80s kind of like things on Instagram. And one of them popped up the other day that was a show. It was a very short show. It was probably only about 10 minutes each episode that was within a show. And the show was called 321 Contacts. And within that show was something called the Bloodhound Gang. And it was a group of kids, teens and kids, who would solve crimes based on using science. One was a white kid, one was a Puerto Rican, and one was a black girl. And this was the early 80s. I think this was on from 80 to 88. And I'm going, this is the shit that blows me away when everybody calls for there's no diversity on TV whatsoever. Have you ever seen the original cast of Sesame Street?
I don't think so.
Oh, Google the original cast of Sesame Street. Sesame Street, the most influential television show for children in the history of the world. Every child grew up on Sesame Street. You had more black and Hispanic than there were white. More black and Hispanic. And everyone is like, oh my God, we have no diversity. Then when I grew up, we had Cosby Show, 227, Good Times, Jefferson. We had Sanford and Son. Fucking love
Family
Sanford
Matters.
We had all these shows that we loved, but I never understood why I'm not allowed to enjoy those shows. I'm not allowed. It's like, what?
they memory hold so much, right? I mean, I think of Fresh Prince, Family Matters, A Different World. Those are all huge shows. A little bit later, like 90s, I guess, a little bit, but somehow they memory hold a bunch of that and want you to believe. Same thing with women, even like there's never been a woman lead, or it's like
what?
Are you sure?
Murphy Brown back in the 90s? Yeah, that's one I could think of. It blows me away, and that's why I think that they actually purposely set up Bill Cosby. It's like they didn't have a problem with shit he did until he actually was advocating so hard for the success of the American black man. He was America's dad. Cosby Show affected every fucking family in America. It was the most popular show back then. So I think they have a purposeful destruction of the black family. If you ever notice too, you don't ever, to my knowledge, there's never a show. Now this is where I'm ignorant, so I don't know. I only am exposed to the black culture that's in the Chicago area. And predominantly, the black culture of the Chicago area speaks English, but they speak a different language than I do. When I was in high school, it was called Ebonics. Here now, it's Cardi B, right? If you ever hear how Cardi B speaks, how she actually writes, it is no punctuation, no grammar, hyphenated words, all this. It's a different language for the most part. The dress is different. The style is different. I never understood why, if that is such a big demographic in New York, Chicago, I don't know if it's in LA or how it is in the East Coast or in the South, why are there never TV shows that depict that specific culture for the black community? And anytime a character like that is up, he's a thug, he's a troublemaker, he's one of Theo's friends Theo shouldn't hang around with. Why is it, if that culture is so prominent, that they're always vilified on any type of television show or movie?
I don't know. I mean, to be honest, I don't really know. Like, sounds silly to say, but I mean, the days of television are gone. Yeah. So like, there might be some weird, whatever reality YouTube channel, or it didn't even really dawn on me until right now. Like, I don't even know what these people are doing. I mean, you people, like what like Cardi B. I mean, she can't. There was an interview recently where she admitted that she can't even drive. She doesn't have a driver's license. She has a Lamborghini in the garage collecting dust, and she can't quite literally has never driven a car. So I don't know what's going on with that. And of course, I think, at least in the South, I'm brand new in the South, so I'm not going to speak to it like I'm a, native Texan or anything. But even when I was a kid, when I was in the Bay Area, Texas had their whole thing about the lowrider, or not lowriders is more of like an LA thing, but the Vogues or the whatever, like, I don't know, like, I want to say spinners. I don't even know if that's the right word.
Oh, spinners, dude. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Eric's first experience in the South.
Yeah, and it's been, bro, I've also noticed too, like, I mean, I brought up those two cases, but I was telling one of my buddies, I was like, bro, they're on it. Like, I think I may or may not have driven all the way from California to Houston, Texas with one taillight out.
Oh.
I get to the place I'm staying at. I leave to go get some house supplies, some cleaning supplies, whatever, Walmart, Target. So I get there. I shouldn't say crash when I'm talking about a road trip, but I immediately go to sleep. I get up in the morning. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go get some home goods, some house supplies. Leave the place and immediately get pulled over for having a tail light out. Like, they're on it.
Like, hey, son, you look a little dark around here for these parts. Oh, man.
They are on it, bro. And yeah. I've seen there's like a busy road, a block or so down, like you have to go a couple blocks to get to the busy road. And I've seen like the sheriffs, like literally pulling people. I mean, they are absolutely on it. $33 at Walmart. I mean, that shit, they wouldn't blink an eye in San Francisco. They will give you $33 out of not Walmart, but Walgreens. They will give you that stuff. So they're absolutely on it. But I wanted to, since we kind of got onto the TV,
the
TV theme, and maybe you know a little bit more about this than I do, because I genuinely, I'll be 100% honest. Like you have the porn to politics. I didn't realize how deep maybe this like sort of maybe it's a porn addiction. I don't know what it is, but a couple of weeks ago, the Nickelodeon thing. History? Huh?
What?
A couple of weeks ago, the Nickelodeon thing was all the rage, right?
Yeah, right.
Like Dan Schneider, I think his name is.
Yeah, we were talking about that yesterday because Matt Spears is my age, and he was. It's just ironic if you've ever seen Better Off Dead, which was one of two Savage Steve Holland films, One Crazy Summer and Better Off Dead. Both starred then awesome, now liberal cunt John Cusack. And one of the hilarious lines is the girl who was the love interest in Better Off Dead, not Beth, Monique. She was a French foreign exchange student staying with Ricky and his mother. And in this one scene, she goes, he rubs his testicles all over me all day. And she confused the word testicles for tentacles. And the guy who played Ricky was, what'd you say his name was? The guy from, shit. But that's him. So
Dan?
Yeah, Dan. Yeah. That's the guy who played him. So he was telling us back then he was a fucking kid toucher.
Oh, look, I didn't even, bro, the connections are never ending. And yesterday, so after, I didn't watch the full documentary or whatever, Hulu, Netflix, whatever the hell they got going on. But, I watch like these big YouTube guys. They look, no shade to them. They do good research. This is like an hour-long video highlighting some of the misdeeds of this guy, Dan Schneider. And then I thought, wait, so we had that, which, I mean, I wasn't a huge Nickelodeon guy. I watched whatever Doug Funny, like back in the 90s. When I used to watch that stuff, I wasn't huge, like super attached to him, not like one of these Disney adults or anything. So it's a little blow to the childhood, but it doesn't. I was genuinely watching basketball more as a kid, and they too have become complete, weirdo puppets of China hypocrites. But then I thought, wait, so we've got,
dude, my era was better with everything from yours. Nickelodeon, my era had You Can't Do That on Television and Double Dare. And
I remember Double Dare.
Yeah, and then basketball. I was the Jordan era, dude. Fuck, I had so much better era back then.
Well, I was the end of the Jordan era, right?
Yeah.
And I remember like Tim Hardaway, but I was just thinking, so while I'm sure a bunch of kids, a bunch of people my age, whatever, millennials, have been completely, like, oh, dude, like my whole childhood, all of that Nickelodeon stuff is completely tainted, which it is, and I'm sure it was then. But then I also thought, well, what else was big in my childhood? Bad Boy Records, Diddy.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just like, wait, so you're telling me that Nickelodeon back in the day was completely compromised. Diddy back in the day was completely and look, I don't know, whatever, innocent till proven guilty. Maybe it's a distraction. People seem not to even really be talking about it. There's a handful of memes still going around social media, but am I really to believe that nearly everything was absolutely tainted with weird sex shit from back in the day?
Dude,
I just didn't realize how deep this actually goes.
We had rap in the 80s, and that evolved to hip-hop. I will never forget it. It was 1997, and I was working at a bar, and our DJ, Joe Woodson, was talking to the owner of the bar, Al, and he goes, hip-hop is about to take over. And Al's like, oh, you're out of your mind. It's never going to happen. He called it. And after that, hip-hop just exploded like crazy. But we had rap in the 80s, and it was different than it is now. Like, I'm big on, like, frequencies, tonality, stuff like that. I can't consume without getting a headache. And I know, I said to my dad the other day, because he's born in 1950. And I'm like, I know every generation, like your parents hated fucking rock and roll, right? Because it was the 50s. They couldn't stand rock and roll. I don't know if it's because I'm older, but I can't mentally process the music that is being released today. It's just, I cannot describe it. It's just insane. But it's nothing like rap was when it came out when we were kids. Rap back then was awesome. It was fun.
Yeah,
it was cool.
I would say the same thing. Like, I mean, I'm probably, I don't know, a couple years later than you. So, like, it's the same thing, but maybe a different, I don't know, different 5 or 10 years or whatever. But because I can remember, like, enjoying rap music. And I made the joke, too, with a couple of my friends. Like, dude, I genuinely cannot listen to any quote unquote rap music after like 2016. Like I don't know anything like after 2016. I couldn't tell you. Like these people they're mumbling, and the SoundCloud rappers have all taken over.
Okay, that you're on it. That's a big thing too. I cannot understand anything they're saying. I can't. And when I was a kid, we had to go get the cassette tapes, and in the cassette tapes had the lyrics sometimes, and you're like, oh, that's what that means. It's kind of cool. But like now, I get it's like it's all bass, all this rhythmic shit, which is hypnotic. Because and this is what I thought about too, is you started to notice this years ago. If when you had to memorize something for school, you read it over and over and over again. Well, when you're learning the lyrics of a song, you're repeating them over and over and over again. You're ingraining them into your system. I mean, I can any popular song from the 70s, 80s, for whatever it is, it just comes out of nowhere. So I think when you accompany that with frequency, vibration, and music, you are 100% influencing your brainwaves. That's why when you really look at it, sadly, hip hop, when it's all the glory, and I argued against this when I was younger. I'm like, there's no way this fucking music is causing a problem. Now I'm like, I don't know, dude, because if you play all that shit and it's just about glorifying guns, violence, drug, hoes, some of you women deserve it, and you're one way, yeah, when I listen to K-Love radio for like a fucking week, I'm like, why am I so light and I feel good? It is a massive influencer on behavior and culture.
Yeah. And now it's like, I kind of go on both sides of like because look, again, I'd say, I don't know if you know about this, but Future, 2015 Future, right? Who he's basically a megastar now. But in 2015, when he was kind of first coming up, I was like, damn, dude, this guy's pretty good. Whatever the melodic beats. But it kind of comes down to being able to watch it or listen to it with a little bit of discernment. So, right, like whoever made the beats, like there's a little bit of talent, whatever, the computer and the poetry or whatever. But there's one thing, it's one thing to be like listening to this and understanding basically, right? You wouldn't get mad at Johnny Depp for being in Blow. So these guys, they're quite clearly actors, but it is a little bit sinister when they want to, whatever it might be, the music industry or I can't say who might be in control and a large portion of
you can say Jews. That's what everyone wants to say is the Jews, right? Well, what is there? Why? I have no dog in that fight for Israel and fucking Palestine, but I don't find it hard to believe that a Jewish culture could continue to sit there and keep a black culture down by poisoning their brains and shit. And I always found it weird too. I am a big, so I'm not a fan of like the genre of hip hop music and all that. But you know what I noticed? When it comes down to like white, I don't know, rock and roll star, pop singers, ballad singers, whatever, versus black musicians, you ever notice, and at least this is my opinion, I enjoy more when a singer who is black crosses over into movies or any type of acting versus a white person does. Like if you got like John Bon Jovi, I think like years ago tried to do it. And when he went to go acting, I'm like, oh, it's just fucking John Bon Jovi, whatever, this and that. Ice-T, whatever. I like him in Law and Order and shit. Ice Cube. I don't fucking listen to his music. I fucking love him as an actor. You look at Common. You look at any of these other guys who have Common, and John Wick was fucking amazing. Anytime these people, that was meant to be a compliment. It's not meant to be fucking racist. Send your shit to Chelsea.
Common, I can't, I don't know him as an actor. I truly don't.
John Wick 2 was fucking great.
Haven't seen that, but Common is he's totally compromised, bro. He's out there with Stacey Abrams. I can't even.
See, that's the point. When it's meant for entertainment, I think I that's what I'm saying. If you alleviate the music end of it, like that's where I have a real I have a real big problem with the nonstop concept of you're racist if you don't support X, Y, and Z. That makes no sense. I will watch any movie or TV show that's got 50 Cent in it or anything else because I think they're fucking amazing actors. Amazing actors.
50's funny. 50's funny.
I can't stand their music. Right, I can't stand their music, right? So, wait a second. It's one one avenue of something I choose not to consume because I don't enjoy it. But these men and so the women fucking too are just amazing in their craft in delivering powerful, engaging entertainment. Fuck you, I'm not racist. I just don't like the genre. So I'm not a fan of some of that kind of argument. I think that does a detriment to the black culture as well too. You put more people in a performing arts stance, shit. I mean, it's just they could be Jews. It's definitely leftists. They want the black culture to fail. 100% they do. They've always wanted it that way.
And one of my friends got kind of mad at me because I had the audacity to notice a pattern and I'll let you do your Googles or whatever. Starting with Jennifer Pritzker, right? Who I'm sure you're familiar with.
Oh yeah, that's JB's cousin, or it's my governor's cousin, or sister, or whatever, who was a man in the military, high ranking, and is now a fat fucking bitch.
Yes, and that person is huge into the transgender space, as you know. And I kind of got down this rabbit hole and started to realize, wait a minute, there's a little bit too much of the Jewish persuasion. And then I took it one step further because I noticed that we all remember a month or two ago, the white rural rage guys were on MSNBC talking about how, white rural rage is going to steal the country or whatever.
No, I remember that. Wow.
So is it out of line? So these two guys can go on national television and lambaste a huge portion of the country, right? And say they're the reason. But if you even notice that those two gentlemen are both Jews, that's a bridge too far. They can go on and tell you, you're the problem, you're a conspiracy theorist, you're a racist, blah, blah, blah. But if you just say, wait, why are these two guys, they have something in common with a bunch of other people who are pushing this trans agenda. And, I mean, look at Leor Cohen, who's been known as the villain of hip-hop, right? They all have something in common. You can't mention that.
Do you notice how hesitant you are to say that? And it's like, I have no dog in the fight. I can't stand the Palestine protesters. I don't know. I know nothing about Israel's problems, nothing about Palestine's problems. It's 6,000 miles away. We have a Chicago police officer just shot allegedly by a black kid. We have carjackings out of control. We've got more illegal criminal invaders that are flooding our streets. I care about that shit. I don't care.
Measles too, like they're.
Oh, that was a while ago. We have so much shit here. I don't care about 6,000 miles away, but I've noticed more people, more big influencers, they're openly, I mean, fuck the Jews. They're that open on their social media. They control everything. And I'm like, you guys are one step away from Adolf Hitler wanting to eradicate a people. And they have no problem with it. It blows me away how outwardly expressive the hate for Jews are. That doesn't mean I'm defending them. It means I don't have a dog in the fight to say it. Pro-Palestine, if you're a protester, fuck you. Palestine people, don't care about you. I'm indifferent. But the pro-Palestine fucking protesters, you guys, I just hope swim in a vat of fucking cow piss and don't have an avenue to get out of that pond.
It's a real race to the bottom, right? And I've said this several times before. I to your point, I don't have a dog in the fight either, right? Like, I truly do not care. But it's like, I'm not going to side with the people who are blocking up traffic on the Bay Bridge and in front of airports across the country. I also feel like I'm not going to really side with the weirdo ADL speech police and their regime. So that's a problem, right? Kids, you're both just awful, right? We remember that from Family Guy. But I also think that, there are some terrible people in all walks of life, right? And I've said this several times. Think about it. You have the awfuls, the affluent white female liberals, white libtard, whatever, 30-something women, most notably the Kennedy sisters, right? Hillary Clinton obviously is the queen of the awfuls. Then you've got the black libtards, and you've got the 13% gang. And they're coming from all over. So I'm not trying to single out any one population of tiny hats or whatever. You're just part of and this is to my point that I have said several times on my own channel, you almost wish that the political regime and the leftists and the establishment, the uppers, whatever you want to call them, you almost wish they could just have a tiny bit of honesty and say, you know what? This actually has nothing to do with your race. This is about the content of your character and your willingness to bow to the mob at any particular
I
term.
don't get it.
Right? Because we all have problems, right? I mean, you could look at Steph Curry. I mean, LeBron James. They're a black guys. You got the weirdo white Antifa BLM protesters. You've got they're all over the place. You got the Latinx mob. I mean, they're everywhere. And if I even notice that a handful of people who want to chop the dicks and tits off kids, or if they want to blame a huge portion of the country for being white rural racist, I feel like that's true, and you're just part of the problem along with a bunch of other people.
I don't get it, dude. George Carlin said it. I fucking hate people collectively. I hate groups. Individuals is a different story. I just don't get it. And I've had so many different experiences with individuals versus groups. As a cop, yeah, every group together and separate were different. The black kids grouped together were just as tough as the white kids grouped together or the Hispanic kids. When you got them separately, the black kids were cool to hang around with, man. I mean, like you got a crime, right? You got 10 black kids, you pull one off to the side and you interview him. He's actually cool to be around. He's got good energy. The Hispanic kid, he's a fucking hard ass. Yeah, he's got machismo. The white kid starts pissing his pants, crying like a little pussy. That's how that is. When you have, it's the group mindset that is just a big. I don't get it. I just never understood why we. King didn't say could judge a group by the content of their characters. Judge a person by the content of the character. Sadly, all sides, conservatives do this worse than anybody lately. If you have a dissenting opinion among your group, they turn on you like fucking piranhas at feeding time when there's no meat left.
I don't know. I think the left would do that worse. As Don Lemon.
Oh, they turn on him?
Oh, bro. Remember when he said, when they were all against Nikki Haley, but he said the wrong insult towards Nikki Haley? I mean, he's out of a job now.
Yeah. I'm looking at the whole thing's like maybe it's more along the lines of Trump supporters and whatnot. If you said, I want to look into DeSantis, you got eaten alive by MAGA in the comment section of some fucking post. You brought up a Kennedy too, by the way. I'm still blown away. How many people they don't have a good option with Trump? They don't have this is how stupid Americans are. Don't have a good option with Trump. Don't have a good option with Biden. They just put a video up of Biden and AOC walking together hand in hand. She literally looks like she's walking her great grandfather I'm like, oh my God, this is horrible. But they want to vote for Kennedy. And anytime you ask somebody why they vote for Kennedy, they can't get past his stance on the vaccinations, right? Because that was his whole thing. He came along at a time and I'm like, do you guys not realize that he is part of say what you want about the Rothschilds. He is part of the definitive American royalty. Ted Kennedy, his father, his uncle, his cousin John F. Kennedy. Well, who's the other one that who's the redhead? I can't remember. Maria Shriver. I don't know if that's related by blood or by or whatnot.
But it's marriage,
right? It blows me away how people are so quick to elect another fucking royalty. Well, his family's speaking out against him. You really don't think that's an act? You think that's an okay, whatever. I'm blown away whenever I hear RFK. I'm like, yeah, because every time I turn around, it's like, yeah, all right, we want George Bush Sr., George Bush Jr., Clinton 1, Clinton 2, and let's do Trump. And then when Trump gets out of office, Don Jr. would do. Oh, fuck them. The Democrats, we need to put The Rock in. It blows me away how little value that Americans have on themselves, that although we broke away from a monarchy and a king, we still appoint them here all the fucking time.
Look, I'm still Kanye 24, bro. I mean, could it get any crazier?
All right, genius. You think he's a genius?
Oh, well, he's certainly a musical genius. I don't know if you like. I mean, I don't know anything about the piano or the drums or the drum machine or anything like that. But first of all, it can't get any worse. And when you have somebody who and this is not going to happen, but I think he genuinely, like, bro, remember when the left got really mad at him because he cried on stage when he was talking about aborting his first daughter, and he was like genuinely emotional. It's like, yeah, he wants to. It has gotten a little weird with his wife, and she's going out there in like all these see-through outfits, all really strange. But it's like, is that any worse than what we have? I mean, truly.
Fucking no. It blows me away. It's a big fucking circus of distraction. It just is unbelievable. You got, what did I just watch? I was so pissed off the other day. On top of, and it wasn't the new $95 billion package. It was something else. Oh, we did. We played the audio yesterday of the representative who was saying that Ukraine's border is the United States' border. And I'm like, I don't get it, where in my mind, with how disastrous shit is, for somebody who's an elected official to openly endorse another country over the safety of Americans is the same thing as like your father stabbing your mother as a kid and going, no, we're getting rid of her because, you know, she cooked the wrong dinner. We're going to get a new one in here who can, you know, cook right. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? And then we just let her, right? No, Dad, keep stabbing her. You're fine. I don't know a harsh enough analogy, but I wouldn't want these people driving, you know, my nieces around in the car. I wouldn't trust them to mow my lawn. But here we are relying on them to run this country.
Yeah. And these are the same people that, in New York, there's a story from just yesterday, maybe 2 days ago, about how the federal government has sent a cease and desist to the NYPD. Oh. And let's just be clear. I'm not a fan of the NYPD. They're completely corrupt hacks. But when you're talking about, and I'm sure there's some good people in there too, right? Like, I don't really have a dog in the fight. Like, as far as like maybe not in the sense of the left, but like, maybe you could stand to spend a little bit less money on cops, not for the reasons the left claims, but for completely different reasons, because they're all people and there's corruption all over the place. But they are now telling the cops that in New York City, NYPD, they're parking illegally, right? So you got migrants taking over schools so kids can't go to school. They're taking over soccer fields so high school kids can't even play matches. And the federal government is sending a cease and desist to the NYPD because they've parked illegally. These are the same people.
Yeah. Priorities? I'm all with you for defunding police the right way. And anytime people hear that, they don't understand what that means. Get cops according, and that's just the soapbox I'm on all the time. Go back to the Constitution. Stop enforcing some of this unbelievable bullshit. Prioritize. And if you're not going to do your job, I mean, for the love of God, I went off the other day. Oh, it was Blue Lives Matter on social media, which is a law enforcement forum on their Facebook page, posted an article mocking a trans man that went into a boxing match and got knocked out in like the first 20 seconds. And I sat there and I put the comment, why the fuck is this on a police forum? Why are you, last time I checked, it does suck, but you have to sit there and check your personal biases when you choose to wind up becoming a cop to serve everybody fucking equally. So why are you mocking a trans person when how many bootlickers just sat there and said, well, yeah, these grown men who are flashing their cocks in front of kids during drag show story hour, we have to let them, it's their free speech. We have to let you guys did not sit there and storm any business that had grown men sexualizing children, but you'll mock fucking. So yeah, I'm all for defunding stupidity in law enforcement because I don't know what the fuck they do. But these migrants, I don't know if you saw this too, they're protesting at city halls now, saying we want more.
Yeah, bro, they've taken over. I mean, right? Like they want more is the same thing as them, bro. So the migrants at the soccer field in New York decided they weren't going to leave even after the cops showed up. And I'm like, I just saw the headline at first. I'm like, wait, you're telling me that the cops did nothing? And then the kids left before the migrants were removed because they had said or done something, or maybe they didn't say anything. Maybe it was just a menacing nature that they could be in for trouble after the soccer game. That's how menacing the African migrants. We're not even talking about the Venezuelans, right? And we all know that the Venezuelans are cleaning the clocks of migrants from all over the world, right? Like they are running roughshod over Americans, over New Yorkers, over migrants from all over the world. It's the Venezuelans who are doing the most damage. I mean, from top to bottom, all the way up through murder, right? So it's completely ridiculous. And then in Oakland, in California, the Alameda County District Attorney, who is facing a recall, right? We all know, look, crime is through the roof in Oakland. In-N-Out left. Benny Johnson himself, conservative influencer, was robbed at In-N-Out only like a week ago.
Oh, geez.
Maybe even less. So crime is through the roof. That is common knowledge. And I've always said, how is this still happening? Everybody knows. But they just keep doing it because they know there's no consequences.
Mm-hmm.
And the same woman, Pamela Price, the district attorney of Alameda County, has decided that she is going to press charges on the cops. And again, the cops aren't perfect. I grew up writing graffiti. I used to run from the cops, but there was never a hatred. It was always kind of like a cat and mouse game. There was a mutual respect, right? When I was, stealing spray paint and spray painting walls way back in the day. But so now this woman decides that she is going to press charges against 3 police officers in the death of a man that the autopsy literally says, and you can look this up. It is common knowledge. It is all over the Bay Area local news. He died of an overdose. And they're just, while she's facing a recall, she decides that these people are so stupid. I guess my only recourse to combat this recall is to press charges on the cops. Well, I mean, I don't know if you've been to Oakland recently, but it's just fucking disgusting.
Nope. Never been. They're the Raiders fans. They were brutal.
Bro, go. Yeah. Look, I know far too much about Oakland, but you go around the Coliseum, even the Mayor Shangtao, who is also facing a recall, said that there's going to be a soccer team, a professional soccer team that's going to play at the Coliseum because all the real professional sports teams left. She said that the soccer team was going to play and revitalize the city. But I'm like, bro, that stadium was erected in like 1986. It's no good. If the stadium were good and the surrounding area, which is now called the crime corridor, that's where In-N-Out Burger was. Yeah, I mean, that's where In-N-Out was. So if one of the two were decent, you might be able to bring it back. But the stadium itself has been, I mean, it's over, it's leaking, it's disgusting. The surrounding area is just, I mean, just, well, don't go. I'm not suggesting.
No, they're talking about, Chicago Bears are talking about pouring millions into the stadium. And I think we had renovations in the 90s, but I'm like, why? Why would you, and they just destroyed a landmark in Arlington Heights, Illinois, the Arlington Heights racetrack, which was, I mean, I've been there a couple times. Gorgeous fucking building, horse racetrack, and they leveled it because they said they were going to bring the Chicago Bears out to Arlington Heights, Illinois, which could have been a good thing, but traffic would have been a bad fucking thing.
How far is that from Chicago?
Without traffic, or with traffic, 35 minutes. It's a 35-minute drive. Right. It's not bad. You go straight up 90 or straight down 90. But the problem, I hate going to the city. Fucking hate it. I'm 20 minutes outside the city. I get my skin crawls when I drive down. That's what I want to ask you in the beginning. Like, there is a distinctable, noticeable biological difference when you're in the suburbs versus when you're in the city. My skin feels like I need a shower with lava soap. I don't like the energy. It's just, it feels heavy. Did you notice that from the move, where you're at now versus where you were? Was there anything that had changed?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And it's one thing, I mean, to even speak to that point, it's like, even living in the suburbs of Oakland, which, I mean, Oakland's disgusting, but, I was lucky enough to be out of, not in the downtown or Lake Merritt or anything. So it's like a little bit up in the hills, the hillside, and you can kind of see down, and it's much better. But even going to San Francisco, it's the same thing. Like, crossing the bridge, 20 minutes, 30 minutes crossing the bridge into San Francisco. It's completely disgusting. And I even, to that point, I even remember thinking to myself, like, it's going to be a weight lifted, which it absolutely is. And I can kind of see that even here for the short time I've been in Houston. I'm like on the outskirts, right? So if I go 20 minutes to downtown, I mean, it's a far cry. It's nothing like San Francisco, but I could see how somebody who is native to the area would still see a difference between Spring, Texas, which is like just north of Houston, and downtown Houston, right? So it's never going to be as bad. I mean, I know people in the area, they complain. I'm like, bro, give me a break. Like they see one panhandler off the highway off ramp. I'm like, dude, you don't know shit. Like, bro, go to Oakland, California, and you're gonna lose your fucking mind, bro. They are in control. We know this. We've all said this for many years now, several years now. There is no more middle class. There are only political elites and tech billionaires, and then junkies who eat the crumbs that the politicals throw to them. There's nobody in between. It's gone.
It's the same with Chicago here. I don't care how many people say it's beautiful. The city's so beautiful. No, you're talking maybe a mile, not even the magnificent mile anymore. Michigan Avenue, stores are closing up. The riots a couple of years ago had those stores broken into. If anybody ever comes into Chicago, you land at O'Hare. Don't land at Midway. It's a Cicero. Ugh. But you land at O'Hare and you take 90 in. You get off at Ohio, and it's this gorgeous exit, and you're raised up from the tollway, and you're raised up, elevated, and you're no longer going to be able to smell the fudge factory. They're actually closing that down after 100 years. But you go through this corridor of like buildings that are just massive skyscrapers on all sides, and it's so picturesque. And you go right downtown, and you pass the old rock and roll McDonald's where you never wanted to be at midnight anyways, because you'll get swarmed by a shit ton of kids. Then you go to Michigan Avenue, all that stuff, State Street, and that's it. That's beautiful. That's not the entire city. All you got to do is wait till like 2 a.m. when there's no traffic and get on a bike and ride 10 minutes south, north, or west, because you go any further, you go into the lake if you go east. It's different. It's shitty. It's gross. It's violent. It's vile, and there's a good chance you won't leave because you'll be killed.
And I think, like, I don't want to speak for you, but it's like, I'm not asking for perfection. Just like, I mean, the bar is low, bro. Just like a little bit, especially in Oakland. I mean, this is worldwide news. Like, just clean it up a little bit, and they just refuse to because it works for the regime, right? You see, Josh Hawley, talking to to Alejandro Mayorkas or something about, these kids who've been murdered by criminal illegals in Missouri, right? And it's like, bro, just stop. Just gone are the, I think I said this to you, last month. It's like gone are the days of just a little bit of skimming off the top, a little embezzlement, maybe some blows, some sex parties. But now you guys, you've lost the plot, bro. Like Tiffany Henyard, who I'm sure you're familiar with as well. It's like, dude, just give us just reel it back a little bit.
Mayor of Dalton, worth
the price of
they don't care. They don't care. And that's the problem. Dalton's only 25,000 people, right? Everybody focuses on New York, Chicago, LA. You have no idea how many towns there are that have 25,000 residents, that have mayors that are that fucking corrupt. People do not get it. That's like, you worked for, like, the last town I worked at. First town I worked at was a city of about 50,000 people. Last town I worked at was 6,000, but we bordered each other. The Round Lake area, Round Lake Park, Round Lake Heights, Round Lake Beach, Round Lake, they all bordered each other. So you had a pretty big town, but they all had 4 departments. Oh, your last department, you worked at 6,000 people. You don't know anything. Motherfucker, 6,000 people. They appointed a police chief who had 0 police experience, who ran more corruption out of there because fucking everyone said, well, we got to pay attention to Chicago. We got to pay attention to other areas. When you're that low, like my first fucking town, oh my God, my first fucking town, the mayor was an employee at the Ace Hardware. And the shit they got away with. They just, like, people don't know this crap because they don't ever go to their village hall meetings. So I don't want perfection. Well, I'll tell you what I don't want, or I thought I would happen, but it's not, is you thought there would be solidarity with the illegal criminal invaders coming in, and you would get like the blacks who had their plight and the Hispanics who had their plight, the legal Hispanics who are fucking some of the greatest people on the planet. I've talked very openly how much I love that community. And then the whites, and you would think they would go, hey, listen, we got our problems, let's come together for solidarity's sake because these people don't belong here. No, it's even more division. You're just dividing your attention. It's fucking broken beyond belief.
I just don't get it, bro. We just a little bit of regular corruption has gone all the way through the roof, and especially with Tiffany Henyard and even Tish James and all those people, like, they know. They've got the memo over the past decade that I can do whatever the hell I want because black women can do no
Dude,
wrong.
nobody cares. Nobody cares. When I discovered what was going on with my department, I went to the Illinois State's Attorney, Cook County, excuse me, Lake County State's Attorney, Lake County Sheriff, and I even argued. I had a conversation with Lake County Sheriff years later. He's like, "Well, there's nothing I could do. You're the fucking sheriff. You could have called a press conference." I went to the Illinois Attorney General. I went to the FBI's office. Nobody. I went to state police. They're like, "Yeah, there's nothing we could do." I'm like, "You literally have police corruption. I'm a cop. I have stuff for you," and nobody gave a shit at all. It's I don't care. It's all fucking the smaller departments. People don't get. They're most likely more corrupt than anything, and those people suffer the worst. And it fucking sucks.
Yeah, it's kind of like the broken windows theory. Like they just let it go.
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation because it's like I don't agree with sometimes that the guy who needs his weed hit that he's gonna go and break into somebody's home for that. It's like no, that's opportunity, a little bit different, and that's lack of community fucking policing to begin with. But yeah, it's great to have you back, man. Hope you got
man. Good to be back, and I'm on Central Time, and I'm gonna make the most of this southern expedition I'm on now.
Report No Pine. How can people consume it?
Yes, I'm most active on Instagram. Getting back in the swing of things, of course. Follow my YouTube channel. Follow me on Spreely. Buy the book New York City 2020 by Eric Butler. It only gets better with age. It really does. You know, looks crazier now than it did then.
Guys, tomorrow's Wednesday. Make sure you share the show, love the show, like the show, do all the things inappropriate with the show. Send me nudes about the show. I really don't give a shit. But have a great damn day. Go out and help somebody today. Remember, that's the single greatest thing you could do for your own mental health. Don't be a selfish cunt. Go help people. They deserve it. And if you can't help them, do not hurt them. See you guys tomorrow for more of the Rants of Izzo here on Spreely.com.